and you can put nacho cheese on anything. That's something they don't tell you. You can put nacho cheese on anything.
And it's awesome.
Hey everybody, Buddy Basil here, and you are listening to the Joyspiracy Theory. Thanks for tuning in again to this episode. We've got a wonderful interview with Eddie. He's been a listener for a little while, and we just get into it. We get right into it. We talk about things like addiction and children and meeting your spouse and petlessness and, a little bit of some hamster talk there. Nothing weird, just talking about hamsters. So you're going to enjoy it. It's going to be great. Now, I've had a lot of people, not a lot actually, there's been a couple of malcontents who actually haven't listened to the Joyspiracy Theory, especially during this new time, this time of renovation that we're doing. Just kind of being like, hey, what are you doing? You're just talking to random people? What? I want to hear about my favorite Nephilim guy, or I want to have somebody scream at me about the government conspiracies. Well, you know what? Good. Yes, good, true. I, too, from time to time wish for those things, and luckily, all over the internet, there's people who are welcome to oblige me. But I gotta say that I believe that this podcast is bringing a new and special thing. You get to meet people just like you, which is a huge thing people ask me for all the time, saying, hey, hook me up with a community of people just like me, or hey, do you know of a church? Well, here you get to talk, not to talk, but you get to listen to me talk to pastors of churches who talk about this stuff, of people just like you, get to learn about their experience. Anyways, this is one of them. You're gonna love it. But before that, I just want to give a huge shout out to all of the new Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much. It's really, like I say over and over again, it's a very warm and fuzzy feeling I get when you guys take the time. I mean, the money is one thing. Thank you very much for that. But just taking the time to go onto the internet and support, it's beautiful. Just so everybody knows, nobody sent me a pet. There's no pet sponsorship of this episode. But what there is some new Patreon supporters and a new Patreon reward level. That's right. Now, for $10 a month, you get to send me a message, a transmission to the other Joyspiracy agents. And so you can go there and, maybe you've got a friend who listens to the show. Maybe you've got family who listens to the show. Maybe you just kind of want to put your bike up for sale on Craigslist. Or maybe you've got a secret message for the rest of your Joyspiracy agents. You can do that now. We'll give you a word count, and you just join, support the Patreon. It's great. I'm going to continue to think of new cool rewards for you guys, and you can participate in that. Also, for those of you who are signed up for $5 a month or more, you get special bonus episodes. I just released a new bonus episode, and so you're going to enjoy that very much. It was the bonus episode regarding last week's episode, Jamie, and this wonderful piece of well, you'll just have to listen to it. It's great. You're going to love it. All right. Thanks for everybody who is liking the Facebook page and the YouTube channel. Sorry, YouTube listeners. There's a delay in getting the videos up, but that's okay. I'm going to fix it real quick. Okay. And last but not least, if you want to be on the Joyspiracy Theory, if you want to come on, have a chat with me, your old buddy Basil, I got some spaces opening up, so just go ahead and send me an email at thejoyspiracytheory@gmail.com, and we'll get you on. And a lot of people are worried. They say, I don't think my story is very exciting, or I don't think I have much to share with the world, or whatever the case may be. And I'm telling you, trust me, you're going to be here with me if you are willing to open up and be honest and authentic about your life and your experiences, and you're waking up to how the world really is. Then you're qualified. You are qualified. So there you go. You just leave the rest up to me. All right, everybody, let's jump into this episode. Here we go.
Hello.
Eddie, what's up, buddy?
Oh, Basil, how's it going, brother?
Going good, man. Again? Here's the thing. You're in a new club. You want to hear about the new club
Oh,
that you're in?
I would love to hear
The
about this club.
the new club are the guests on this show who have experienced extended complications with scheduling and
I would never admit to such a thing happening.
and lived to tell the tale. And so
Deal.
but it's all good. This one wasn't too bad. I gotta all right. We're gonna do something a little different. First of all, I am grateful that I have a body that can move and work and perform the activities that I need it to.
Amen to that.
That being said, it was a rough day.
Yeah. Yes.
Have you?
Well, I did not work out today just so I would have enough energy to be up for this.
Oh,
so.
well, that's good. Okay, so you're a little bit ahead of the game. Have you ever seen a show called Storage Wars?
I have.
Are you familiar with that show?
I am.
Whew, have you ever been tempted to buy a storage unit and search through the treasures?
I've been tempted to do it, and I've had to clean them out for other people who have lost theirs.
Well, that's even worse. That's like you don't even get the excitement of finding treasures
I
and
did
keeping
get a few things, and I said, when you get out of jail, I'll give it back.
Okay, well, that does sound pretty exciting. But that is what I had to do today. And we purchased it was actually me and my dad. We purchased a storage unit and went sifting through the treasures. And it is a taxing, not just physically, but an emotionally taxing activity to partake in.
It is. Did you find any treasures?
I got some nice little treasures. Oh my goodness, we found a large vial, filled with what looked to be gold flakes.
Really?
Yes, and it was like that ultimate moment where you're like, this is what every storage warrior dreams of. But it turns out we tested it, and it's just like some sort of sample of water filtration technology or something. I don't know. It was
Alex Jones's silver stuff that he tries to sell.
It was something that it was a vial full of disappointment is what it was, if I'm being honest about it.
At least you had the excitement there for a little bit.
We had the excitement, and we got some stuff. We'll make a little bit of money on it, so that'll be nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Well.
Which is good, because if you haven't noticed by my incessant promotion of the Patreon, that'll help out a little bit.
Good.
Okay, so now enough about me. How about you? What are you grateful for today, buddy?
Today I am grateful for my children and my wife and the opportunity that God has given me to be their leader and raise them up through his word.
That's beautiful.
That is what I'm truly grateful for today.
That's great. Now, let me say something.
But more importantly, I'm truly grateful to be talking to you right now.
There you go. There's the right answer. No, that's good. Hey, so how many childrens do you own?
Children's?
How many childrens do you own, and of what variety are they?
Well, with SB 18 passing, who knows how long I'll be owning them.
Oh.
That's another topic.
Yeah.
I have 3 little boys, 5, 7, and 9. It is WWF all day, every day.
That sounds really fun. It sounds awesome. Just as physically taxing as cleaning out a storage unit.
It can be. You need a body that is able to move and do all those things. That's for sure.
Yeah. And you have a wife, I'm assuming, because you said it to me?
Yes, I did. Yeah, me and the wife, we've been together. This will be our 9-year anniversary.
Wow. Okay. Here's a fun thing that I've sort of been doing to myself, and I haven't told anybody on the show about this, but I try to kind of guess people's ages just by their
Okay.
voice. And I gotta say, you sound like a fairly young person.
I am.
Okay.
Very,
All right. So maybe early to mid 30s.
very good. Nailed
Yes.
it on the head.
I'm getting good
You're
at this,
awesome.
man. Four or 5 years on the air, you'll pick up some. If nothing else, I've picked up this skill.
I have the skill to identify my voice.
There.
That's good.
So what are you? I'll put a solid number out there just for fun. 34.
32.
Okay. Ooh, look at you,
Well,
youngster.
I was 22 when I had the first one.
That is really
Yeah.
that is early, man. As far
It
as
is.
as
But
far
we
as like
figured we'll
the
get him out of the way and then we'll be, what, 40, 43 when, no, we were young and dumb and in love. That's what it was. That's true.
Well, so was that your wife I heard in the background there?
Oh, yes. Did she get picked up on this mic?
No.
That was her.
Yeah, that's okay. We spouses are invited. Um, what was I going to say? So you got married pretty early then, or
Yeah,
you
well,
took the
at the time,
complicated route?
we did take the complicated route. At the
Nice.
time, we were just, we were pregnant within 4 months of knowing each other. So,
Whoa, you guys are
yeah,
quick.
we were. At the time, we were not believer. Well, she was, and I was the deceiver. She was the believer.
It's
And
easier to pull somebody down from a chair than up on a chair.
it is,
I
that's for sure.
I think that's what my youth pastor told me, at least.
That's a good one. I like that one. I might have to use that.
You know, I gotta say this, and I think people have kind of picked this up over the episodes. I'm fascinated by these relationships.
Really?
Yeah, because there's been a few people. I think you're the third one who have talked about their relationships with their spouses or soon-to-be spouses, and there was and now is less of, but a difference in current
Yeah.
salvation status or
Yes,
something like that.
that works.
Yeah, so that's fascinating to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was raised in the church and stuff, but at the time, was not a believer at all.
So
And
you knew the lingo.
oh yeah. No, I was raised in a Church of Christ, and they pound the Bible into you, twice on Sunday, once on Wednesday.
Yeah,
It's
good old
yeah,
midweek
no,
service.
yes, sir. So I was heavily around it all my whole life, and I always believed it was just, I was waiting for that burning bush or prove it to me kind of
Yeah.
thing. And you get confused with all the evolution and all the other nonsense that Satan spread around and
Yeah.
whatnot. But
Well, and what I find so fascinating about this topic, and we don't have to talk about this for long because I know I touch on it. We've touched on it a few times, but who knows? We're just going to go.
that's good.
What's fascinating to me is may never have even heard of that happening, being a good church boy, pretty much until this show. I mean, it's because they tell you, like, it'll never work. It'll never work. Don't do it. But it apparently is working to some degree, and I will give God the credit for that.
Yeah, well, it's all him. I mean, I honestly, now that I am saved and have been a Christian for a while now, I don't know if I would recommend it, just because you do see it work the opposite way, whereas the person does not get back up on the chair ever.
Yeah.
It seems. So yeah, I wouldn't really endorse it, but
yeah,
she was
I do want to be
definitely-
clear. I do want to be clear. My fascination with it is an academic fascination.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not trying to campaign for this type of lifestyle,
Right.
but it is an academic fascination, a scholarly case by case study. Okay, so that's interesting. I'm sorry, I cut you off a little bit there, but you don't recommend it.
No. I just think it. I mean, you can take, don't be unequally yoked and whatnot, and other passages to kind of, I don't know, you can overuse those and twist them a little bit to completely deny any sort of interaction with an unbeliever. But
Yeah.
no, I mean, it's just because it creates unhealthy relationships a lot of times, and you might do things such as she did with premarital
Mm-hmm.
fancies that you probably shouldn't. In the end, yes, it's all glory to God that it worked out the way it has, and we weren't sure if it was gonna for a while there.
Yeah. Everybody's got a little bit of that going at some point.
Yeah.
But okay, well that's fantastic, and it sounds like things are going great now, and that's good to hear. And yeah, for now, you are not currently being victimized by 3 tiny
No,
humans.
no. We might get one that wants water here at some point coming down the stairs.
That's okay. We all want water, so we can
Yeah.
definitely take a water break. Okay, so now I am also one of my favorite jumping off points is a little bit about kind of what your relationship it was and is with God, if there was any sort of fun tale in there, and then we'll get into some of the gritty stuff a little bit later.
All right. Well, like I said, I was raised in a church, a home, loving. It was a divorced home, and growing up, I just something in me just loved rebellion, and I think Scripture's pretty clear what that is, and I just could never quite get it. I had to try everything, and I started using drugs when I was about 12 or 13.
Wow, that's early.
Yeah, it is. It is. There was some kid came to school from a big city town, and he was a gangster and all this stuff, and it just fascinated me because I grew up in the suburbs, and I mean, not to put blame. I'm the one that put it to my mouth, that's for sure. But
sure,
it was just the infatuation with it, and then
city
the draw
kids
became those dang city
kids. Am I right?
Seriously. But then the draw became not only the drugs themselves, but the kind of lifestyle to being the drug dealer kind of cool kid or whatever through middle school and high school. But then it completely took over. I was a real, very gifted athletically, on football team and all that kind of stuff. But then started skipping school, losing grades, and all that fun stuff kicked off the team, and
the classics.
Yes, exactly.
Can I make one prediction? I'm sorry, hold that thought for 1 second. Can I make one prediction?
You can.
Do you have a beard?
Do I have a beard? Wow, this guy's good.
Do you?
This guy's good.
Here, I'll give you a little bit of technical. My Sherlock Holmesian deduction of that. I can a little bit hear your headset rubbing on your beard.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
There you go.
I can live with it, but I just don't want the emails from the listener.
No, definitely. You don't need the crumbs getting in the mic either.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so you were getting kicked off the teams and getting in trubs.
Yep, trubs, and it was really hard for my mom and family and stuff to really watch me go down that path. They knew what was coming. They'd been down it themselves and seeing it. But it was always one of those things like, oh, that'll never happen to me. That's what we always tell ourselves in most situations. I'll never be like them, or I have it under control.
Right.
But then it got into the real heavy narcotics, and my whole life just completely spun out of control. And but it was kind of interesting. I would be this is kind of a sacrilegious story. Me and my friends would be, in a hotel or wherever we were, and I would look for the Gideon Bible and start preaching to them while we were out of our minds.
Wow.
It was, yeah.
Like
because
sincerely,
I always knew.
or was it like an ironic thing?
Yeah. No. It was like sincere. Like I always knew that what I was doing was wrong, and I was, sinning against the one true God of the world, the creation, and I would try to convince, because a lot of my friends were heathens, so I would try to convince them that it was real while we're participating in those activities. It's pretty disgusting when I think about it now, but it's actually, I've had a buddy of mine who was there at the time now is we're doing a Bible study and stuff together. So
Well, that's awesome.
maybe at some point that, had some influence. I don't know.
Well, I
But
find it I find it great to hear because, even though you were, going off the rails a little bit, it sounds like that it was almost like it was still inside you. The gospel is like inside you trying to get out the whole time. And
yeah, no,
even in,
definitely.
these altered states, it was like it was still fighting its way through you, not only for your own sake, or perhaps actually a lot for your own sake, um, but also for the sake of people around you.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Are you a evangelist of sorts now, or I
I
guess
am actually. Yeah,
eh,
I am the intern at my church, intern evangelist, I guess. There's not an official title, but
yeah.
I'm interning with the outreach and stuff guy, and we go, yeah, all over and do all sorts of outreach stuff. And
There you go, man. There you
yeah,
go.
yes, sir.
That's awesome. Okay, so you were doing that, and was this fairly close to when you met your lovely wife, or
Yeah, it actually was. So when I was 21, I did what normal, sorry, excuse me, worldly kids do, and that's go to the bars on your 21st birthday. And um, I hadn't slept in about 10 days, and next thing I know, I was talking to a lady at a bar, and I woke up in the hospital, and I was handcuffed to the bed. I had tubes in my mouth, and my mom was the first person I saw when I woke up. Now, that's interesting because my mom lived in Arizona at the time, and I'm in Northern California.
oh wow.
So somehow she was there in this blank period that I couldn't recollect. The story goes I was my sister was driving me home, and she had never seen me in that state. When I drink alcohol, I get 7 feet tall, and I turn into a Nephilim, basically, is what happens. And so I was pulling on her steering wheel, trying to crash the car, and she
Oh
screamed at
wow.
me to get out of the car. So I said, okay, and jumped out going 60 miles an hour. Rolled on the ground, and
What? What?
yeah.
That is crazy. You're pulling some like Tom Cruise stunts.
Something. Well, it would be a Tom Cruise stunt in the sense that I got up and kept on walking, and everything was fine. She
Wow.
she proceeded to try to get me back into the car, and she couldn't do that, so she left me on the side of the road at 4 in the morning. Um, and this is a highway, a 2-lane highway with no street lights or anything. And I was hit by a semi truck
What?
while I was walking.
What? Does it
Yeah.
not end, Edward?
It does end. That was the end. The end result was a collapsed lung, all my ribs on my right side broken, a compound fracture on my right femur. But my gel stayed in my hair perfectly, and my spikes did not move.
God was protecting it.
Yes. Well, I couldn't have the nurses seeing me in that,
Your
without having
sweet frosted tips.
exactly. So that actually ended up leading me to rehab. My during the recovery, my mom basically told me if I don't go to rehab, then I'm cut off from the whole family, and there'll be no contact and all that. So I went there just to appease her. I really wasn't, I mean, obviously in that state, I knew, wow, God saved me. Something, um, there's a reason I'm here, but I wasn't ready to fully embrace that reality yet. And So I went to rehab, and that's actually where I met my wife. I I had completed the program and was staying on as a what they called a mentor. Basically, I had nowhere to go, and so they let me stay there and drive the residents around and help out and stuff. And she came in as a resident, and I said hello, and so we hit it off from there. And it's just
Don't
it's
they?
when
That sounds like you're breaking some rules there too. I
I
don't think you're
well
allowed
I
to do that.
well, yes, the the head counselor said, "Eddie, we know what you're doing. Either we're going to kick you out or kick her out." And I said, "All right, I'm gone.
Yeah.
She needs this." So, yeah, there were a couple HIPAA laws being broke there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just amazing how God works through all this. I mean, it took all that to get me to her to end up where we are now. It's just truly amazing.
Yeah.
Even then, it took a while. Like I said, we were pregnant within the first couple months, but we we didn't want to rush into marriage just because we had a child. I mean, that's not the best reason sometimes. So we ended up actually waiting about almost a year after we had him to get married, but we realized that we were meant for each other. So,
What were your parents saying about all this?
well, that's an interesting story. Her parents didn't approve. My parents, I think, didn't approve either, but they were kind of more along the lines of, well, this is the hand that's been dealt. Let's deal with it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, her parents ended up not talking to us for quite a while,
Oh
but
no.
all that's mended, and they're beautiful, wonderful people. Just I think you know when they see their daughter meeting a guy from rehab, they did not think it was going to go well, and I don't blame them at all. I would
Yeah.
not want my daughter meeting some drug addict from rehab either.
Well, that's
Uh,
kind of the story a lot of times too. Is we like, I mean, I don't know. People naturally will like to be like, oh, well, that's really mean that they didn't do that, or like that they didn't like it, or they weren't talking to you. But really, if you put yourself in their shoes, I mean, it sounds like maybe it wasn't the right response, but they obviously had a
yeah,
reason to be concerned.
no, definitely, and I don't hold anything against them, and we've ironed it all out, and that's truly, I think, where they're coming from was just
Yeah.
they wanted the best for their daughter, and I wasn't it
Yeah.
at that time.
Yeah,
So
they weren't so sure about this guy.
yeah,
All did you try to impress them with your ability to survive attacks from semi
I
trucks?
did, I did. They're farmers, and I went up and tried to wrestle their pigs for them, but they weren't impressed.
Oh my gosh, that's really funny. Um, but okay, all right. Well, you made it this far, so good job. You're a testament to sticking it out for love.
Yes, sir.
Well, good. Okay, so if you're, oh well, I don't want to move on too quickly if there's other exciting stories.
Nothing quite that exciting, but
You-
it definitely, the next our first 5 years were really good. I stayed 100% completely sober and
Uh-huh.
clean, but I was what they would call a dry drunk, which is basically I was abstaining as opposed to actually,
Right.
um, yeah, moving forward as a person and really recovering, I guess. I basically my kids and my job and my wife became kind of my God or my sobriety. Um, and when adversity hit in the form of job loss, I mean, that night I lost my job. I was back at the bottle.
Yeah.
And, I never touched a drug again. I have not touched a drug since I entered rehab, but alcohol, and alcohol is so tricky. And I'm pretty sensitive to it now and seeing it even as much as it is in the Christian community and how accepting it is. And I'm not going to, Romans is pretty clear. It's a kingdom of righteousness, not of food and drink. But the Bible's also pretty clear. As soon as it touches your brain, we have a problem.
Things do
It's
tend to
okay
get a little rowdy.
yes, it's okay to have a glass of wine, sure. But when you have a bottle, then we're, going beyond what God has set forth for us.
Sure.
But, but it's just, it's everywhere, and and I tricked myself, well, I'm not, using drugs and this is okay and blah, blah, blah. And that led to a couple years of real rocky, my wife, she had never seen me, anything but sober up to that point. And she knew all the stories. She knew how bad it could get. And so her first reaction, of course, was to be scared and, wondering where's this going to lead? And then I did all the, for a while, all the promises and, it's just, once a week or whatever it was. But the whole time, it was just getting progressively worse, and had a couple more run-ins with the law in this period. And,
yeah, that does tend to get a little bit contentious when that starts mixing in.
yeah, just a little bit. And, it took her actually, packing the bags and leaving really to truly wake me up.
Yeah.
It wasn't a long separation or anything, but it was really her way of just saying, hey, I'm serious and you have responsibilities. You're my husband, the father of my children, man up. And I did. And it was really at that turning point that I really started seeking after God and truly, for the first time in my life, 100% realized I can't control it.
Yeah.
And
well, I imagine for your wife too, having gone through the program and kind of seeing that and having her own experiences. I mean, especially when that's where you guys met, that could be really scary, even in theory, more than anything.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we're one of only 5 people that are either sober or alive from our class of patients at this rehab that had, I think, about 70.
Wow.
Yeah, the mortality rate and success rate in drug use and rehab is like 3%, I think was the last time I looked what the figures are.
3%? Wow.
For first time people or success, and not even just first time, but like how successful that one instance is going to be moving forward. Yeah, we had one of our, one of her real good friends, overdosed, and there's so many people in and out of prison or dead. I mean, that's what the program says. Jail, that only leads to jails, institutions, and death.
Yeah.
And it's true. And so, yeah, so I mean, I'm going to have to, she's going to have to live with that for the rest of our lives together. I mean, she's totally forgiven me and her trust is fully in God and in me now. But, that's something I can never take back, that letting her down and those years of disappointment that she had to see me fail at. And,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's very interesting because when it comes to relationships and marriage, of which I have not been blessed enough to experience yet, but I'm trying to articulate exactly this profound moment that is happening inside of me. The fact that bond, which is not just a court paper that you both signed, and it's not just a ritual, and it's not just the promise or the public declaration or anything. It is all of those things, but it's more than that. That can take such a dangerous or a seemingly dangerous situation, such as the one that you two were in, or the one that she perceived, and find a reconciliation for that. And I'm sure that there was a lot of were you guys I don't know, like Christianing it up, Jesus-ing it up at the time, or was it this before that?
No, not at the time. That's this whole time is ultimately what led to that, and that's been a huge building up of her trust again in me. Has been that whole aspect added on to it, because, like I said, there were so many broken promises, and I mean that's the hardest thing, is to look the person that you love more than anything in the eye and know that she doesn't believe you, or know that she doesn't trust you.
Right.
Like, that feeling is just, you can't even describe it. It's just, it wrenches your heart out. And that was a huge awakening point for me. And once I started seeking after God, and truly, when she really saw the change and all that, that's when I think the trust has been cemented. The trust was building up to that point, but it was truly at that point that it's, I believe, has been, back to what it was. So.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. You guys seem to be having a good time nowadays.
Yeah, we're babies raising babies. It's always fun.
Babies raising babies. Well, that was actually a comment I was going to make earlier, which is, I made such a big deal about how young you were when you had your first child, but really every parent is doing that. It doesn't matter, even if you're 32 having your first kid, you're still just a guy who was just a guy. And now suddenly you're a father, and
now you have a life that will die unless you do something.
It doesn't really matter what age you are. It's the same. It's the same terrifying feeling. Not that I would know, but that's what I've gathered.
It is. And our firstborn, he was premature, 2 months premature. He was only 3 pounds. She's gonna nail me if I don't get this right. 3 pounds 11 ounces. That's it. 3 pounds 11 ounces when he was born. I mean, he was tiny. He was in an incubator for the first month of his life.
Wow.
That was super tough. And I mean, that first night bringing him home, we had the crib at the end of the bed, and I literally on my belly just stared at him for like 9 hours straight. Just like, don't die.
That's so interesting. I hear that so often, and I guess right now is an interesting time for myself as well, because I'm sure you know Gons or know of him, and he just had his little baby, and
yes.
So I've been Kaya, yeah. I've been having a lot of little baby talks with him and about that experience, of which one hour episode is available as a bonus content on the Patreon. Go to patreon.com/thejoyspiracy theory if you want to hear me and Gons talk about babies. It's pretty good. But yeah, he said the same thing. It's just like you're holding this little tiny thing, and fortunately, in his case, he didn't have the same situation you did, but kind of the same. He expressed the same feeling, which is like it's so little and it's so fragile, and it's scary because you just don't mess up, because that would be bad.
That would be bad. Yes, it's completely dependent upon you, and that is a huge, huge responsibility. But they've made it this far, so
yeah, good job. So I'm assuming that you had to do some growing up pretty quick.
Yeah, no, that's definitely part of it.
What's that been like? Because I have been growing up so slowly, so very slowly. Oh my goodness. But so tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that is actually, when they were little, you didn't have to grow up as fast. But now that they're older and aware and can think for themselves, certain things you grow up over in about a minute. And, it's I was listening. I just finished the episode you had with John a couple episodes back.
Oh,
you
guys were talking about.
Yeah, it was.
What's up, John? He's listening. He's listening right now.
And you guys had mentioned video games and the kids and stuff. And I'm a huge gamer. I gamed when gaming wasn't cool. That's how far back
Yep.
my game goes.
Yep.
I gamed on the Nintendo.
Oh yeah.
That's yes, sir. And like that's one thing I had to really cut back on. For an example, for my kids, I don't want them turning into couch potatoes. I don't
Yeah.
mind playing games with them. We do play some. Since I've awakened to a lot of the evils of the world, the library has
the infiltration
diminished.
of your
Yeah.
video game collection. You're
Yeah,
realizing that you're being brainwashed.
yeah, and all the witchcraft and esoteric nonsense in
Yep.
it all, and it's disgusting. Like you guys mentioned Diablo, I was like, well, yeah. What do you mean Diablo? Let's talk about some other ones.
I know.
Wouldn't.
It's so funny because that was like the quintessential game that you don't want your child to be playing, like as a Christian family. Like it's in the name.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. It was like it's so obvious. It's the sneaky ones that you don't, that's what I've really been seeing, and not to see it everywhere, but it's kind of everywhere. So.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Pretty much anything in the mass market is chock full of all sorts of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But,
well, and it really, for me, because I was really into like the RPGs and all the Final Fantasies and all those games.
Yeah, buddy.
But then, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm summoning Urfrit? What am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be showing this one to the kids. And I had them, I had a huge library, all the old Super Nintendo and Nintendo, and I was just going through and I'm just like, nope, can't do that one, can't do that one now, can't do that one. So basically it's Mario, and even Mario, Bowser means king of the demons, and every time you fight him, you're in hell. And I mean, it's
I gotta say, I did not know that about the name Bowser. What's the etymology of that?
I would have to look into it further.
You don't have it in your notes?
I don't. Notes? You said candid.
I know. God bless you guys. Everybody has a lot of plans, and I'm just not used to that.
I'm not. No. This is
how we roll.
Yes, sir. So I remember reading about that somewhere about Bowser and all that. And I mean, there's even the Wii game Paper Mario, where Bowser marries Princess Peach, and they have a demon child that rules over the world. And it's the whole Antichrist story in the Mario game. It's like, come on,
ruining Mario for us.
I'm sorry. Too. I'll stop. I've been known to be a Debbie Downer.
First, you ruined semi-trucks for us, and now Mario.
Yes, it's all part of the plan.
All right. Well, okay, so that actually leads pretty well into how did you start learning about, the things like Bible prophecy, conspiracy theories, all that stuff?
So about 2007, 2008, I want to say, somewhere around that time, I was browsing YouTube. I don't even... growing up in the Christian home, and like most people, standard Republican, gun in one hand, Bible in the other, kind of a raising up. I believed everything the media said. I was actually signed up to go to the Air Force when I was 17, and we had invaded Iraq like a couple weeks before. And I don't know if you remember, but George Bush, terrorist, weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
And it freaked me out. And I'm like, I don't want to go to war. And I left. I said, nope, I'm not doing this.
Wow, yeah.
Because I was freaked out. And I mean, I thought it was real. I thought what they were talking about was going to happen, So I just always had the mindset, we got to get them terrorists for what they did to the towers and blah, blah, blah. And then there was a video on the side, like, I can't even remember which one it was. I want to say it was Loose Change. That's what it was. Yeah, it was Loose Change. And I just clicked on them and like, I got to, these idiots, I got to prove them wrong. What are they talking about?
Right.
And no, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
And it was just like so eye-opening and just like, what in the world? And it's funny, Alex Jones, I used to be so into Alex Jones way back then, before he became popular. Back when he actually, I think, with all the stuff that's come out with him this week, it'd be good to mention good old AJ.
Yeah, good old AJ.
I think at one point he was legit, and he's been bought, or whatever's happened to him has happened. I remember he used to talk all the time about, being presented with, TV deals or radio deals, or he was going to be the next Rush Limbaugh, and he turned it down, and blah, blah, blah. And then, he would just like really promote about how like secret people have been trying to get to him.
Yeah.
And how he was like overcoming them. And then he stopped talking about that.
Yeah. What's fascinating too is, and you don't really see or hear this when you're kind of in the community, when you're kind of used to seeing AJ, whatever around the internet. But what a lot of people kind of don't realize is it's only been within the last year or 2 years that AJ has really gotten explosively popular. InfoWars has been a thing for years, and obviously, they've, as production wise, they've done very well, and make a quality product in a lot of ways. But it's only been since the Trump thing that he's like become almost a household name.
Yeah, and you're right, because to me, it's always been like, yeah, that's Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean you don't know who he is? Like,
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I was super into, he was actually vital in waking me up. And
Sure.
At the time, with the Obama deception, Endgame, all his police state movies, I mean, they were, from even today, what I could tell, it's all legit information in there. I even took it so far as he came to Santa Cruz, and I went down to his speech, and I got to tell you, it felt like some sort of rally of, I don't know, we're going to go burn down Parliament and rah, rah, rah.
Oh, yeah,
whatever.
some real weird.
It was creepy. Yeah, it was. But at the time, I wasn't looking at it from the Christian perspective. I was looking at it from the, New World Order, and oh my gosh, we got to defend America and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I even went and got "Don't Tread on Me" tattooed with a snake, the Gadsden flag on my body. And now come to realize, oh, wait a minute, that's talking about the serpent in Genesis. Oh, great. Yeah. Now I have that on my body.
Whoopsies.
Sorry. I guess these are permanent.
Good thing laser tattoo removal is so cheap nowadays.
I am actually in the process of setting that up.
Really? That's it. Let me know how that goes, because I don't have any tattoos I want to remove, but it seems like a fun time.
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah, well, I mean, do you know the story behind the whole "Don't Tread on Me" with Benjamin Franklin and all that?
I have done the research, but it's been about 3 or 4 years since I've actually engaged with the information. So give us a little recap so we can learn something today.
Well, for those who aren't aware, Benjamin Franklin was not this great scientist, philosopher man. He was a hellraiser, or the Hellfire Club, right? And,
yep.
Completely debauchery, esoteric, all that fun stuff. But the whole "Don't tread on me," I mean, if you think about it, what's the prophecy in Genesis is you'll bruise the heel, but Jesus is going to bruise your head.
Yeah.
Well, "Don't tread on me," and it's a snake. I mean, that right there is a representation of Satan.
That's true.
And it wasn't until I really realized, I'm looking at it right now and just, oh, sad face.
Bummer, dude. Bummer.
Dang it. But at the time, to me, it meant like, yeah, don't mess with me, federal government, and I got my gun, blah, blah, blah. And that's, that's what Alex Jones really, that whole mentality that I see even today in so many, alt-right or right-wing or whatever you want to call them now. It's just this, like, I get it. It's the American way. It's that we got to protect ourselves. We got to stand up to tyranny. Resistance to tyranny is obedience to God. I don't see that in the Bible, but it's, and it's very, what's the right word? Alluring. It's, it makes sense. It's what we're raised from day one, playing with G.I. Joes.
It's pretty empowering too. And since, especially in America, we are sort of raised with this freedom above all mentality, which I'm not saying is a bad mentality necessarily in its essence, but it is an extension of that. It's just like that on maybe some hard drugs that you could tell us about someday.
Yeah, someday. We'll keep it family. So it and so for years I was super getting into all the conspiracies and all the stuff, but none of it from a Christian perspective, all from a worldly, they're the bad guys, they're the enemy. And, something of just never quite made sense. It was like, why do they want to do this? It can't just be because they're crazy. Like, I mean, that's part of it, but there's got to be something more than just we rule the world and that's it. Like, there's just something didn't make sense. And, I have an arsenal and food for my whole family for months. And, I was really into all that stuff. And not that it's not a bad thing. I would suggest everybody defend themselves and be prepared.
Yeah.
But at what cost, though, and at what level, and what's the purpose? Why am I really doing this? Is that even a world I want to live in?
And the problem is when it starts to consume you. And
that's what was happening.
Right. And I'm glad actually that we're talking about this because it's been a part. I mean, that is kind of a part of the reason why this podcast was invented was, a lot of prophecy stuff, very worrisome, a lot of conspiracy stuff, very worrisome, but also the prepper mentality can become very overwhelming and kind of get you off track from a lot of important stuff in life.
Oh, totally. And it had. I mean, I was even, I was passing out. I used to work in San Francisco, which it's kind of a funny place for a prepper guy to be trying to preach.
I'm sure you had a lot of friends around there.
Yeah. But I mean, I was putting all of Alex Jones movies on DVDs and passing them out. And
wow,
like, you got to wake up America. Like when the first time Obama got elected.
You are like a born evangelist. It's just like, doesn't matter what it is. Like you are going to spread the good news, whether it's of Jesus Christ or good old AJ.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, I think we all should be. We're all called to be evangelists to a degree. I mean, that's what the Great Commission is, right?
Certainly. I mean, I don't know if Alex Jones is in there, but yeah. But the point still stands.
Hey, yeah. No, you're right. So it did start taking over my thoughts, and the whole prepper mentality totally breeds like an apprehensive feeling all the time of like, are the lights going to go off right now? Or, like
a paranoia for
what's
sure.
What's going to happen? Yeah, definitely. And like I said, none of it really made sense. And so this was, 10 years ago.
And to be clear, and I think you would agree, we would both recommend everybody out there take proper precautions to, be ready for any situation. Just don't let it consume you and kill the other wonderful things in your life.
Exactly. And, it was definitely a building up mentality too. And it got to the point when I was at the end of my drinking. So this is years later, about 2 years ago, that, I had backed off a lot of the conspiracy stuff at that point. And I think mostly just because there weren't any conspiracies left at that point to go through, really.
Right.
And it was all just kind of vaulted knowledge at that point. But it was a general attitude I had towards the world was basically, when I was looking at people, like sometimes I was even just looking at them as like, they're going to want my resources or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like, it's not a good place to be in at all.
I know someone, but I knew that he once said to me, so he has a yard that backs up against a green belt area where a lot of geese and ducks congregate. And so he was like, well, this is great because when everything collapses, I can go out and just eat geese and ducks. But
Smart man.
And I could watch it. I could watch the wheels in his head turning. And this is where that paranoia sets in. And he goes, but wait a second. Like, I'll need a shotgun so I could kill the geese and ducks. But then I'm going to need an AR-15 because all of the other people are going to be trying to eat my geese and ducks. And so I got to protect my geese and my ducks from the hordes of people trying to eat them. I'm like, bro, slow down. Like, you can't just kill everything.
Yeah, and it's when you follow the path logically, like that's kind of where the brain goes, and
It's true. I mean, he wasn't
it's
wrong.
sad. No, yeah, and
People
it's,
probably are going to be stealing his geese and his ducks, but
yeah.
I don't know if you really need to take martial action against them.
Yeah, in all those doomsday scenarios, like I used to, kind of think about like, all right, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? And all this kind of stuff. But then I got to the point, it's like, do I really want to live through that? Like, I mean, come on, just take me out. Like, get me out of here.
That is a whole nother situation too. But
yeah.
Here's the thing, and this is the thing that I think is most important, and now we're just going to be talking about prepping forever. But the most important resource in an emergency sort of apocalyptic situation is the community that you build. And so it's actually more beneficial to share your geese and your ducks and band together with your neighbors and allow them to hunt for food. And so you can all kind of stick together and, make it work. But see, that's one
thing that gets really missed in even in the way prepping is presented.
Yeah.
It's like you have to take care of your family and your kid and blah 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 and screw everybody else, and you're right, and that's going to not last very long.
Yeah, you really have to build. I mean, it's hilarious, but I mean, how great would it be if like part of your neighborhood watch or your like homeowners association meetings, you just like have a few minutes during the meetings to like, okay, well, we're all just going to talk about our emergency plans and how we can all best, as a neighborhood, as a small community, protect against marauders and perhaps a tyrannical government. Let's just make a plan here, guys.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's probably not going to work for most people. I mean, there's actually, now that I think about it, there's probably is something like that in some certain parts of the country. And that sounds sounds like another nice reason to have a potluck.
Yes, Idaho, here I come.
Yeah. Okay. But I was going to say that is kind of the essence of the danger of getting just too absorbed is you recluse.
Exactly.
You come too far into yourself and your family and your material needs rather. I mean, those are the moments where we need to be acting the most like Jesus.
Exactly. Amen to that. Yeah. And at the time I didn't, know that. I was not looking towards God at this point either. This was, like I said, it was an accumulative mindset that was being bred and brainwashed over time.
Yeah.
And, like I said, as far as the conspiracy thing, so it had been a long time doing that. And I had always kind of been into the alien thing. I remember, being in high school or younger and really getting into the whole alien thing. And I thought that was like, the one truth, like aliens are what's really happening here. And they're the ones, it's all a science experiment and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
All that kind of stuff that all that talks about. And so the conspiracy thing to me was just kind of a natural, oh yeah, well, this all makes sense. And it does, and it's true. And, I tell people, the thing about conspiracy theories is it's really facts. Like it's
right.
When you really look into it, this stuff is real. And you can get off, there's tons of stuff that's not true. And I've had to do a lot of investigating as far as that goes. And you have to be careful and all that kind of stuff. But so anyway, at the end of my drinking is really when all this was just kind of coming to an head, and I don't honestly know why I started going back to the word other than I knew it was true, I knew it was right, and I knew I really didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And so I really started, and I should caveat this with, I had been taking my family and kids to church, but I would take them like into kids' church and, go putz around Walmart for an hour or whatever. And just because, or, I would find somebody to talk to in the lobby or outside, one of the security guards or whatever it was. And
Yeah, yeah.
I was just, I knew I should take my kids there. Like, it wasn't fair to not teach my kids that, even if I wasn't really a part of it at that point. So I'm glad God gave me that sense enough to.
Yeah.
Um, but so yeah. So basically, when I was at the end of my drinking and couldn't do it anymore, I started looking up sermons and listening to Christian music again and reading the Bible a little bit. And then came a little movie called Age of Deceit.
No.
And I don't know how I came
Again.
across that. And it was like, what? Oh my gosh. Now it all makes sense.
Can I tell you,
Everything.
I'm going to start a countdown for every episode to see how long it takes for that movie to come up. Obviously, I'm very proud of Gons for making that movie, and it was one of the reasons why when we met each other and got together and started doing what we did. I hadn't actually even seen it. In fact, I hadn't even watched it until a couple of years after me and Gonz have been doing Canary Cry Radio.
Really?
I know.
What?
I know. It's bad.
Oh, man.
But it just never crossed my path.
So I kind of always assumed you guys were like lifelong friends. So that's not the case?
Yeah, no, actually, we've told this story in the air before, so I'll give you the truncated version, which is
out of 190 episodes, it's hard to.
yeah, it's come up. We were actually working at a megachurch together in the media department, doing different stuff, and we worked in the same room as each other for for a long time. I mean, they put all the like techie, media, media trolls in the same room, and it takes us a while to get talking. But it was actually it was during the Occupy Wall Street movement, and it was in a staff meeting with all the heads of all the departments, and somehow, I mean, I guess just I was pretty young at the time, in my youthful fervor, somehow I brought up Occupy Wall Street in a staff meeting for this megachurch, and just dead eyes all across the table. Dead eyes. Nobody. I'm sure many of them hadn't even heard of it or knew what was going on. But then I look at Gons and I could just see it in his eyes, just like, brother. And so that's when, awesome. That's when we started talking. And then it was only a couple months after that we started the podcast. And so that's the legendary story. And that was about 5 years ago now.
Wow,
maybe more, actually, 5 or 6. But yeah, so there you go. That's that story. But yeah, it wasn't until quite a while after that I even watched Age of Deceit all the way through. I think maybe I had gone to parts or something, but
yeah, I'm sure.
But yes, no, that movie will forever be a glowing orb in the sky of my life, just always there above me. No, but it's a great film, and it has obviously touched so many people.
Yeah, no, I am so thankful for his work, and not to get all teary-eyed and mushy, but it was vital in waking me up to Christ and stuff in a lot of ways, and it really just. It made everything that I had known and seen in the conspiracy world finally make sense. Like I said, when I was looking at it all, it was just, what is the end game here? Like, just purely to have what it's on the Georgia Guidestones, 1 million people or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that can't be it. And then when you put, unmasked Satan behind it all, it's like, okay, now things are starting to make more sense.
Yeah.
And so I watched that one, and then I watched Age of Deceit 2, like I think the next day. I think that one had just come out or was close to. Anyways, and So then I started, oh, who's this face like the sun guy? And, oh, he's Japanese. That's weird. And started watching.
Don't worry, it's all of our
I totally
reactions.
get it. And so watching all his videos, and then came across so many other truthers in that, TVC and some other guys, and it was just like, oh my gosh, there's a Christian version of all this, and seeing just everything from that perspective, it was like such a freedom and release of anxiety and all this kind of stuff, which then added more anxiety because I realized, well, wait a minute, I'm on the wrong side here.
Right.
And then, because I had never really been into the spiritual thing, and the church I was in there was no spiritual aspect at all to it, really. It was very conservative, very cut and dry, kind of.
Very just a American brand of
yes, exactly.
cultural Christianity type thing.
Yeah, definitely. And so I had never really been exposed to any sort of the, demonic realm or anything like that. I mean, basically when we read it, it was like, yeah, demons are real, but, they don't bother you. Go to sleep. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And excuse me. So what really hit me, when, after digging through a lot of this information and then really truly reading my Bible and seeking after God and really engaging with my family members who are beautiful Christians that on a level that I had never really before, and just all this stuff. Finally, I was here in my house, and I can't remember what I'd been watching or what, but when Jesus said, "As in the days of Noah, so shall it be," that just, I'd read it before, heard it before tons of times, but it was like truly understanding that for the first time and seeing and truly understanding the state of the world. God, it was like God became so real to me in that moment, and I just fell on my face and was crying out to God, and all sorts of stuff. And it was just that was the moment for me. And I ended up getting baptized and getting really involved in a church, and then having all my theological struggles and what do I really believe out of the Bible, and what's Calvinism, what's Arminianism, what's all this stuff, and
right.
Really going down all that. But what really got me freaked out was the demon alien thing. So I think I mentioned I'd always believed in aliens, but then when I really understood that what was going on was more of a Doug Hamp kind of a thing, with the abductions, and then in Age of Deceit it mentions the M4 research. I might be wrong on the name of that, but about the people calling out in the name of Jesus during an abduction, and then all the Chris White sleep paralysis stuff, and all this, it freaked me out. Like I was convinced that when I go to sleep, I'm going to open my eyes and there's going to be demons in my room.
Wow.
And and a lot of that too had to do, I think I wasn't spiritually mature enough to handle some of this other stuff with Russ Dizdar. Russ.
Yeah. Shattering the Darkness.
The Darkness.
Yes.
Yeah. Amazing work. Super awesome guy. Just make sure you're ready for it.
Yeah.
That's my only caveat. And I thought I was, because I had been around all this kind of, conspiracy line. Like nothing had ever freaked me out, scared me. But then when it became so real, and not to mention I work in a mental health hospital / prison. So then I'm like, with Russ Dizdar stuff, I'm like, how many of these people are demon possessed?
Yeah.
Are they going to know I'm a Christian? What's going on?
Oh man.
I literally could not sleep for about a month.
Yeah. I could see that being a huge, stressor in your life.
Yeah, it was. And my wife was just like, dude, you're losing your mind. What is going on with you? And this whole time I'm saved and a Christian, and so that's, like, that was really confusing me. Like, why, I'm supposed to have joy, and what is all this? And why am I feeling this way? Why am I scared? And blah, blah, blah. And then a gentleman came out with something called the Joyspiracy theory.
Hey, there we go.
Yes, sir.
Here's what
And
we
I
have to.
just,
I'm going to make a plan right now for all the Joyspiracy listeners. Actually, I don't. Well, if Gons ever starts a podcast on his own, every single one of you must campaign to become guests on his podcast, and then just incessantly mention Joyspiracy theory through the whole
that
thing.
works for me.
Every single episode. No, okay. I'm sorry to interrupt. Please tell me.
No. No. So it was really encouraging to hear, because, I'd been listening to you guys for a while. And you've mentioned kind of things here and there about it, and you're kind of the comic relief on the show, right? And so it was always really nice to have that in the midst of some of the topics you guys discuss on Canary Cry, and it was, but it was never a focal point before. It was never really discussed that, hey, everybody freaks out at some point when they find out about all this, because it kind of felt alone. It felt like, I would try to talk to my wife about some of this, and she's like, dude, I don't care. I got laundry and the kids, leave me alone.
Yeah.
And she likes some of it, but some of it, it's just, she's like, you know what, you deal with it and you talk about it, and that's fine.
Sure.
And I didn't really have anybody to talk to about it, because even, in the Christian community, as we all know, we're very limited. We're fringe. That's what we're called, right? The fringe Christian community. And people, it scares people. I've since then, I've had some really nice conversations with people about some of this stuff, but a lot of it, people just don't want to talk about. Nobody wants to talk about the Nephilim and all, whatever it is. It's been sucked out of a lot of our Christianity today. That's why I love what Heiser's doing with all the Unseen Realm stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really bringing that back. Yeah, that was amazing stuff. So I just, like I said, I was feeling isolated again, but, and in a spot where I shouldn't be. I shouldn't feel this way as a Christian, like, really having a hard time with it. And, when you first mentioned it, I can't remember which episode of Canary it was when you mentioned you were going to have it. I was just super stoked for it. I'm like, what? And then you didn't release an episode for a year. I don't know if you get called on this ever, but
no, actually, you are probably the first one to call. Usually, it's me apologizing to just my whole, the whole community, and people are like, "Oh no, it's cool. We understand. It's all good. Don't feel bad." And then, you know what? Somebody needed to do it, and you did it. I get it. You all banded together, and they voted you as the one.
I did get those emails. I did. No, and it was just really nice to have that confirmation that I'm not alone. I'm not, weak, because there was a lot of, for me, there was a lot of like, I must be weak if this is how I'm reacting to this kind of stuff, feelings, or like, just different stuff. Because like I said, nothing like this had ever happened to me before, where I was afraid to go to sleep. Like, that's insane. And so I can't remember exactly but it was just your your simple approach to it, and the silly cats and the farty McFart or whatever that was, and it was just like, yeah, you're right. I need to focus on Jesus, because what's happening is I was getting so sucked into a lot of the Christian fringe stuff that I wasn't reading my Bible. I wasn't having my daily time with God. I wasn't, I was rushing home and watching more Face Like the Sun videos or whatever it was. And
it's all about that balance.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right.
You get it.
And there was no balance at all at this time.
Well, and it's interesting too, because first of all, thank you very much. It's very flattering to here, and it's and confirmation that this show, is doing some sort of good and isn't just another outlet for me to make silly talks. But it really is that balance, because there certainly is a spectrum to be on, and you can go too far into the I don't know, the kind of silly side where it becomes sort of ignorance. And then on the other side of that spectrum is paranoia and fear, and both of those spectrums are not the best. Both of the sides there are not the best, and being somewhere in the middle is a perfect thing. And I thank you now for co-oping with me in this program to bring a little bit of the balance back.
Oh, tears.
Yeah.
No, truly, man, what you do is awesome, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I know there's tons of people out there that do as well, because it is needed, and it's not like I remember TVC used to do some Bible study stuff. I don't really see him doing any of that anymore. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's on a different channel now.
I don't necessarily follow his every move, but I agree. He did used to do that.
Yeah, and there's just now it seems like a lot of it has turned into basically hypersensationalism and like evil this and evil that, and like there's a couple guys, and
unfortunately it's a trend. It's a trend like that.
It's clickbait. I was explaining to my child today what clickbait was. We clicked on a video that said shark smashes into cage, and we love sharks around here. And,
nice.
And we click on it, and it's just a great white going by the cage, and I'm like, oh, that clickbait.
You know what?
That's what they're doing.
That might be one of the most important lessons to teach a child growing up in the world we are in today. To teach them the ins and outs of YouTube, and also for them to understand that just by like watching clickbait, it's sort of adding to the problem. Not that you should scold your child for wanting to see something cool and be tricked by some YouTube scammer, but it's weird to say, but that really is becoming like a skill that people and children need to have moving forward in this world, which is just so weird.
Yeah, it is. I look at what these kids are growing up into, and there's so many mixed emotions that just, for me, honestly, a lot of it is just freaked out and sad for them, because I don't know what they're going to be seeing. I mean, when you think about I imagine, so to play the age game again, I would say you're roughly around my age, yeah?
Roughly, yeah.
Okay, so you remember cassettes, you remember VHS, all this stuff. I still have a giant CD collection, and now that's obsolete. Like, what? I'm still paying for it. Like, it's on credit. Like, come on. It's crazy. And my goodness, it just, so, we actually, because I am pretty tech savvy, and a lot of my job is not IT stuff, but daily on a computer doing stuff and whatever. And always been, exactly. And always been very up with the tech. And our house has been completely gutted from most of that. Like, I just really want the kids to go outside and play and learn things and change a tire, change the oil, do stuff that they're probably not actually going to need, I guess, because the cars, by the time they're driving, they're going to be self-driving. They're not going to be having anything. They're going to be electric. I don't know, man.
There may become a time where like kids don't even get driver's licenses. That's a question that is just now dawning on me. We are watching live as I have a new and original thought, probably not original to the world, but for me, which is, do you need a driver's license to operate a driverless car?
Yeah.
And if not, there's going to be babies alone cruising the town in driverless cars. Okay, we need to everybody call your senators and figure this out.
Seriously, end this now. Oh man. Yeah, it's a brave new, I used to really think that the world was going to kind of turn out the 1984 way,
Yeah,
the Orwellian,
yeah,
oppressive, super Russian kind of communist type society or whatever.
right.
At least this Russian we're told in America.
Sure, sure.
Um,
That was a
but
very
I'm
nice.
really
That was a very nice, nuanced comment. I appreciate that.
yes. I have lots of Russian friends
Nice.
who wouldn't appreciate that. No, and I'm actually maybe going to Russia next year,
Hey,
but
that's
we'll
fun.
see. That would be
I want to go. I want to
if we're not
see.
at war by then.
I
I
want to see
guess.
the like Tetris castles.
Yes, those look awesome, and I
I
just want to play. I have a Game Boy, and I would love to just stand in front of one and
Oh
play
my
it.
gosh. We need to start a
Do, do,
business.
do, do, do,
Yeah,
do, do.
where we just take people on Tetris Castle tours and we just play
That would be
Tetris in front of
awesome.
all of those. I don't think they're real. I don't know. I haven't seen them.
I'm not sure
I've
either.
seen pictures, but I've also seen a picture. I've seen a lot of pictures of, I don't know, UFOs with Dippin' Dots being sucked up into them. So I don't know. We'll see. You let me know if you go to
I
Russia.
will.
Let me know if those Tetris castles are real.
I will.
We'll debunk that here on this show. Breaking
Yeah,
news: Tetris
exclusive.
castles debunked. Oh man!
Everything you thought was a lie.
Get ready for a bombshell from Russia. It's not what you think. Clickbait, clickbait, clickbait.
Kittens.
It's just a link to my Patreon. That's all it is.
That's awesome.
Shoot. Okay, that was a fun rant, but I totally
That
forgot what we were
was
talking about.
me too. Kids, technology. I think
Well, here's
that's it.
something that I see too, which is I think there's going to be two classes of kids growing up, and it's I don't know. I could see sometime maybe into the near far future, where there might just be a class of people who grew up not knowing how to operate in the physical world,
Yes.
and then a class of people who do. And I'm just very curious to see how that turns out.
Yes, who are working for those class who don't. Yeah, it's just. I mean, yeah. I sometimes when my brain gets on those kind of waves, it's like,
It's too
didn't
trippy.
Jesus say, "Worry not for
I
the
know,
future"?
I
Like,
know.
dang it, you got me again.
Lilies of the field and all that.
Yeah, and it's a reality especially as a parent that like I mean, I guess all generations have gone through it to a degree, like,
Yeah.
from the World War II era to the hippies and forth and whatever. But the technology thing wasn't that big of a deal. And now it's just like crazy, just absolutely
Well,
crazy.
and it's increasing faster and faster and faster. I mean, the
Yeah,
technology is just going nuts every year. Things that we were speculating about. I mean, when we first started Canary Cry, I made what I consider a pretty good prediction on how true AI is going to end up working. Um, and suddenly it's like here, and they're doing it that way. It's crazy.
yeah,
Anyways,
yeah.
okay, let's see here. So I want to go take a couple steps back, and that is, when you really did start to get freaked out about everything, when that started, sort of seeping in, and it was the fear and paranoia and things, and just I guess a lot of that comes with the realization that perhaps you weren't on the right side of things at the time, and it's profoundly impacting for me to hear that this show had some sort of influence on you at that time, but especially with the loneliness and perhaps your wife, rightly so, not needing to bother with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
But what sort of ways was that impacting you? I mean, was that let me
Well, I think
two-parter question. How was it impacting you? And besides this show as well, I mean, what kind of recommendations could we give to people who are already listening to this show?
So I think for me, it was really, well, the lack of sleep was,
Yep, that is an
I
issue.
worked, yeah, that was when I was getting 1 to 2 hours of sleep and having to be at work at 7. That wasn't working out too well.
Yep.
But it was just really, it was questioning my spirituality. It was questioning my, what I thought I believed. Like if I was having, those kind of thoughts of, if I'm a Christian, why am I reacting this way to this situation? And like, does this mean I am a Christian? Or, and that was super discouraging. I mean, I was that didn't last very long at all, but it was still
Sure.
part of, but it was, and I think part of it was really when I really believed every word of the Bible, and then I really look at Matthew 24 and Revelation 6 and stuff, and I look at Jesus says this is going to happen,
Yeah.
so it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I guess I wasn't at that place where I was ready for it to happen, I guess, maybe in my mind, or my spirit. I was still kind of wanting to hold on to this life.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I truly desired heaven over this life that I really became okay with a lot of it. Because now it does, I mean, if someone came in here with a weapon, they might not leave, but if I were to die, that's okay.
Yeah.
I truly understanding that and believing that, like, that is hugely part of the hope that we have in Christ is, look to the things that are unseen, not seen, not of this world. It doesn't matter. John Piper, he's one of my favorite preachers, and he has a really good thing on, I believe it's, it's in one of the Thessalonians, talking about they joyfully accepted the plundering of their property. What does that mean? In America, they joyfully accepted the plundering of their property. How does that happen? Because someone get off my lawn, boy.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I mean, I get upset. Well, people get upset. It is normal in America for somebody to get upset when somebody like takes your parking spot or like,
Yeah.
I mean, and God forbid somebody,
shot over it.
yeah, God forbid somebody like takes somebody with the same name takes your drink when it gets called at Starbucks or something. You know what I mean? Like that is earth shattering if you're in the wrong mind state. But yeah, I mean, yeah, wow. I gotta say, I don't know if I've ever even seen that passage before. Well, I'm sure I've seen it, but I haven't paid attention to it.
Yeah, and it's really like coming. I mean, and that's a huge part of American Christianity, which I don't know how much theology you want to get into on the show or whatnot, but coming to that understanding of truly having the joy of the Lord, the hope is in Christ. The hope is in eternal salvation. The hope is not based upon my day-to-day life and whether or not, the government takes over and we get on trains and get gassed or,
Right.
And so for me, it was honestly, it's pointing back to the scriptures, pointing back to the cross, keeping our eyes on the Lord, on our Savior, and believing in those truths and not just, yes, it's in the Bible, so it must be true, but truly understanding and putting all your hope in the Father and the Son is just what really got me out of that. So that's the answer to the second part, but the first part was basically I was getting away from that. That's what was happening, is I was being taken away willingly, into other things and getting all freaked out about it. And
here's something, if I can point something out from a few minutes ago, you talked about the questioning and maybe even doubting or, trying to maybe realizing that your thoughts on the Bible or Christianity weren't as cut and dry as you thought, or at least as far as it had been presented to you until that time. And this is something that was really important to me at certain junctures of my life. And that is, when you start having questions, or when you start feeling like things aren't adding up, or when you start feeling like there has to be, it could be anything, really. I find those to be incredibly valuable opportunities. A lot of times as Christians, obviously doubt is a bad word, and questioning things, in the wrong spirit is frowned upon. Things like that. A lot of times, even just asking too many questions will get you, it'll make you pretty unpopular at church. But I find that when, not just myself, but with people that I talk to and know and love, in these seasons of our life where we feel like we need something more, or some clarification, or a renewed and more perfect view of the universe, it's in those seasons of life that you actually can make the most astounding connections, the most astounding improvements just in your own thinking, the most astounding leaps in your relationship with the divine. Like, it's amazing. And so I really, one of my biggest things is, I have some people who come to me for counseling on certain things, and they'll just be so sad and so feel so guilty about maybe having a doubt, or maybe having a question about something in the Bible that doesn't really add up to them. But it's really through those instigations in yourself and leading into those seasons that you can really, you come out the other side and you are like tap dancing. You go in sulking, and you come out the other side just like doing a little jig, dancing in the rain. And, a lot of times the best thing to do is embrace those seasons and really, truly pray and seek out, what you're looking for. Because as far as I've seen it, God really works with somebody who's paying attention and wants to know more.
No, definitely. And
not even intellectually, but emotionally. That's a lot of joy comes out of that. Yeah.
No, and we see all throughout the Bible, we see people doubting. How many times does God have to go, hey, don't worry, I got it? And that's basically what the Old Testament is, them failing and doubting. And
and it usually, it ends up with joy. Joy comes in the morning. That's really, something, that's something to get tattooed, because, it doesn't matter what dark night of the soul you're working through, if you just take the right steps, God's got you, man.
Yes, sir.
You, the collective man. All of us.
Yeah, and it's, but in the season, it is hard to see sometimes. And it's through suffering. We don't understand sometimes, through whatever it is in our lives. It's really easy to go, why is this happening to me? And, or, whatever it is. And that's, just that question itself, why is this happening to me? Well, who are you looking at? You're looking at yourself. You're not looking at God.
Right.
And it's just, it's we all go through it. And like I said, when I heard your mention of the Joyspiracy theory, and then I think it was one of your short little 3-minute intro kind of, hey, this is what the channel is going to be like video, that really just was so profound to me. It was just like, wow, that's awesome. This is so refreshing to hear that I'm not alone in feeling this way. Because like I said, honestly, I was really feeling that way a lot, because I didn't have really any friends. I don't have too many. I'm gaining friends now that I'm really involved in church and being around the brotherhood and stuff. But most of my friends are still, I wouldn't really call them friends anymore, but they're still out there in the world and
Yeah.
whatever. And I have had to disassociate. And I mean, this happened a long time ago before I became a Christian. This was when I, first got clean and stuff. But and I think that tends to happen as we get older. We have families and we kind of isolate a little bit. And then when you add in all that kind of isolating stuff, it can be very overwhelming and very discouraging. And but yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't trade that experience for anything because it's given me such a renewed outlook on priorities, on what's really important, who's important. It ain't me, that's for sure. And it's beautiful, and being able to share that with people because I have enlightened. I shouldn't say I have enlightened. That sounds ridiculous. I have enlightened. I've shown some people some of this stuff, and they've really started going and doing their own research. And I had to tell them, hey, maybe not this yet, or this. Let me tell you my experience with this. And,
Yeah.
and it's been vital and important in helping others for sure.
Wow. Yeah. This was something I've been waiting for a moment to share, and this might not be the best, but I'm just going to go for it.
Do it.
Talking about kind of telling friends about, whether it be, some sort of prophecy thing or a conspiracy thing, just really getting out there and evangelizing when it comes to that. I have this friend who, I mean, we have been in pretty brutal conversations. Like I'm trying to tell him about the Fed, or I'm trying to tell him, and it just comes up randomly. Like he's that kind of friend. And
don't mention flat Earth.
Yeah,
oh
my gosh, I never would. And just complete shutdown, complete lockdown. Never gained an inch ever. But I was recently at a social function that he got. It doesn't matter, but he got a new house. He was having a housewarming get together. And I hear from across the room, his voice, the man who has shouted at me for trying to tell him about 9/11 or something. I heard him say yeah, and I mean, jet fuel can't even melt steel beams. It's crazy. I'm like,
awesome.
It happened. He got it.
That's super cool.
But it's just it was a great testimony for me, at least, because it doesn't matter how, I mean, I can plant seeds and things like that, but really God brings around the truth. That wasn't me.
Amen to that.
That was him. So,
no, I mean, and that's super important for, especially when we're sharing the gospel with people too. Like I used to get really frustrated, with how quick people just don't want to listen or shut down or whatever. But when you think about it, just planting seeds, watering seeds, and as long as you're part of the harvest, that's awesome.
There we go. Amen, brother. Okay, so we're moving on to the last parts of the show here. So if there is anything you want to talk about, let's do it. But we're at an hour and a half, no rush. But we're gonna.
Well, I don't have an Eddie's list of recommended. I think most people are pretty. If they found you, then they're pretty good.
It's true. I'm a pretty deep cut.
You are. You're on the dark net.
There's people. I don't know how this is even possible, but there's so many listeners of even Canary Cry Radio who still don't know about this show. This is a pretty deep fringe of the fringe community. But okay. All right. Sounds good. So I got to ask, you got any furry friends hanging around? Do you have any leeches on your family just eating all your food? And no?
We tried that, but no. So my son is actually we're in a space right now that's kind of limited. So I'm not anti-furry friend. I'm not gonna tell you how I feel about cats just because I know they're dear to your heart. And I think we got a good thing going, and I don't want to ruin it. But I will say this: we probably will have a hamster on Sunday.
Hey.
It's my son's 7th birthday, and I said, okay, fine. Hamster.
That's beautiful. I got to tell you, as a kid who had many a rodent as a pet, I gotta say, I'm all for that.
Okay, well, what would you suggest? Which one? What kind of hamster would you suggest?
I am not like hamster fluent, but just you're
Okay.
nice. But don't get a dwarf hamster. Don't get a tiny one. They're too. You just can't do anything with them. You can barely even hold them. I would go for actually the biggest hamster you can find.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And
Right.
yeah.
I
So
was leaning dwarf because I had a dwarf,
did you?
but my dog ate it. So
Yeah. See, that's the thing. They're just bite size. They're a little snack size.
they are.
Yeah, if dwarf's your thing, that's cool. But I will say it's actually much easier to handle a bigger rodent than it is a smaller one. And it's, it really isn't that much more cleanup. You think the bigger it is, the bigger the problem. I would say
That's
opposite.
what I've been reading. Yeah.
Just whatever you do,
will.
you got to make sure you get a hamster ball. That is a
That
richly
is a requirement.
a richly rewarding experience of my childhood is having a hamster in a ball running around my bedroom while I'm doing homework.
Awesome. Yeah, we got stairs, so we might have to get baby gates again. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they'll survive. This is a straight shot too.
Yeah.
This ain't no landing.
No, I've definitely my hamster unfortunately took a couple tumbles down the stairs. Never had any serious physical harm, but you will need to wash out the ball after they take the tumble down the stairs.
Yes, I could imagine.
They have very specific and pungent defense mechanisms that activate when they go tumbling down the stairs.
That's awesome. Yeah, but now my other son, he's the reptile guy.
Oh.
He's going to be getting a bearded dragon, which I didn't know lived for 20 years.
Oh yeah, that's a real commitment.
It is, and everything I'm finding out about these is, oh yeah, the kids go off to college and the parents end up keeping them. What? No.
I gotta say,
maybe after 15 years I'll like it, but
yeah, who knows? Maybe it'll grow on you. You could get him a little ball too, and the hamster and the bearded dragon can cruise around. Oh, that. All right. Here's the new Joyspiracy theory. Yep, I once in a while lightning strikes on this podcast. It's a hamster and bearded dragon. They're both in hamster balls. Crime fighting team.
Crime fighting.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Gonna start the Kickstarter for that project. I think what do you think would be the best medium for that timeless tale?
That timeless tale, I would have to say a Lego version video game. Would be awesome.
I gotta say, I was not expecting such a creative answer. Nothing against you, but that you nailed it. I was gonna say I don't see it as a TV series or a movie. I was gonna say more of a comic book, but Lego style video game, I'm down.
That would be awesome.
All right, I'll get the guys working on
it. Get the trademark going.
Yeah, along with the other Joyspiracy franchises. What do we have? We have Oops, I Married a Nephilim. That's a classic. We have the NWO Fantasy League, which I have taken steps towards getting that going. I know I've been talking about that one for a while. And here we go. Hamster and Bearded Dragon. We'll workshop the name.
Yeah.
We'll get the guys in the writer's room to take care of it. Okay. All right. Okay. So now here's something I'm interested actually in a sincere way, and not just this is a question I ask every episode way, but a lot of people who have had similar experiences to you, and if this is not your case, don't feel bad, but who have gone through a program of one type or another, kind of get kind of hardcore about the health stuff. Have you gone through periods? Now, look, I'm not expecting you to maintain a...
Are you trying to admit Get me to admit that I'm fat. Is that what's going on here?
I mean, I just want you to this is a safe space,
Oh, no,
But no, a lot of people. Well, anyways, I'm done qualifying. But how are you
yeah.
how you doing with that juicing machine? Is your juicer dry or wet?
My wife, it's dry right now. My wife really got into the clean eating stuff, and I tried to do it for her, and it was disgusting.
But cheese is so good. Cheese is so good.
Now, when you present the facts to me logically, and you go, look at what's in this product that you're putting in your mouth.
Yeah.
I go, yeah, that's horrible, and I never want to put that there. But at the end of the day, I have compromised and
you can put nacho cheese on anything. That's something they don't tell you. You can put nacho cheese on anything.
And it's awesome. Taco Bell's made a franchise out of that.
I know, it's unbelievable. Speaking of which, I need to confess my sins publicly and repent here, just so everybody knows. But so here today, going full circle back to my storage unit adventure earlier today. I ate a lot of Taco Bell on the way down, which was delicious, but immediately felt just the weight of the sins of all of my fathers weighing down on me with that nacho cheese churning in my stomach. And then we were cleaning out the storage unit, and what is this? In box, never opened, Jack LaLanne juicer. A new juicer, brand new. I have only ever used thrift store juicers, and now I have my first bright, shiny, out of the box juicer. And it was just, I feel that was just a little bit of a divine moment where God reached down from heaven and just placed the answers to my. It was a resurrection moment, I'd say. It is.
I wouldn't go that far, but it was nice.
Thanks for keeping me on the level, man.
Trying, brother, try it. No, that's awesome. I love how when stuff like that happens, because there is absolutely no such thing as coincidence, and
yep. So
there you go.
I've taken the message loud and clear, and I will now start juicing again. I don't even know if anybody likes this segment of the episode, but I do, and I need to. It makes me
you gotta
do
have
better.
Some of it for you.
I know this is Basil time. The dog, the pet, and the juicing conversation. That's just for me.
Yeah, no, my wife really wants to, and I want to, and we have gone through valleys and peaks as far as taking the health seriously, but. Honestly, it has become a little bit of an issue with the children. Not going to lie. The vegetable consumption is kind of low on their end. And it's I do not want to be the dad that you're not getting up from the table till you finish the peas.
Yeah, it's true. And
but at the same time, you're not getting up from the table till you finish the peas.
Dude, and I'm telling you, here's the thing. In my childhood, we ate a lot in the living room. We were one of those families. We'd kind of just eat at the coffee table or whatever, watch TV. And my little secret was, a lot of kids like feed their vegetables to the dog or something. I found the little crack in the couch.
Oh, no.
Underneath the cushions where it goes down into like the dungeon of the couch, like the upside down. And
there's a scary Winnie the Pooh episode about that. Never mind, sorry.
No, you're totally right. Actually, wow, you just drudged up that little gem from the bottom of my subconscious. Thank you. I'm going to be remembering that forever.
The dust monsters.
Yes. But yeah, let's just say by the time my parents tried to sell that couch at a garage sale, and when they bought a new couch, there was at least 5 pounds of green beans and broccoli and just the detritus of vegetable matter that I stuffed down there my entire childhood. I was pretty sneaky though. I had a
yeah, you got away with it.
Yeah, I had a gift, a sleight of hand gift.
That's awesome.
So I share that with you, not as a fellow parent, but as a once professional vegetable hider.
I think most brothers and sisters are, if not parents, future parents. So
yeah, keep an eye out for unprotected cracks in the couch. Because
I will. Well, I actually just this week caught him doing a similar thing. He was at the table to finish his vegetables, and I had gotten up and came back, and he was slipping in from the sliding glass door. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And his eyes just dropped. And oh yeah, he understood the wrath was coming. And, yeah, he hid.
Well, he was like, that was a big mission. I feel like he was. That's a bold mission to like try to take your vegetables all the way outside of the house.
Well,
just destroy all evidence.
Is only about 5 feet away from the back sliding door right there, and he has been caught when I have looked through the garbage can before, so he knew. And the kid's only 5 years old.
I was gonna say, dude, watch out. He's gonna wise up.
He is. I got my hands full with this one. He's yeah.
He's your youngest?
He is, yeah. He's my youngest, my toughest, he's...
That is so funny.
Yep.
All right. We'll give them all my love, and...
I do have one request.
Okay, what do you got?
I'll tell you this story. So my phone, if I leave the Bluetooth on for some reason or other, when I get into my truck, it automatically syncs and starts playing.
Uh-huh.
So, the intro to Canary Cry News Talk, which is another fine show that everyone should listen to.
Yes, thank you very much.
The end of the world is tomorrow. So I was getting in the truck with my children, and all of a sudden that starts playing out of the speakers. And I didn't think anything of it. I knew what it was, and I turned it off because, they don't need to be listening to some of that quite yet. And, whatever, didn't think anything of it. Well, about 2 days later, my other son said, "Logan thinks the end of the world is happening." I said, "What? What are you talking about?" "Because remember on your radio that it said the end of the world?" And I said, "Buddy, that's not the radio. That's a show I listen to." He said, "No, I know that, but Logan thinks that was real coming from the radio." And I had to show him that, "No, look, I'm playing this from my phone, son." And he's like, and his poor little face, he thought that the radio was telling. So if you could just say, "Logan, that is fake. That's my show," that would be great. I could play him that.
Okay, you want it on this one, or you want it on the other show?
Either way, however you want to do it.
I'll put it right, just in case I forget. I'm gonna make a note of it for next news talk. But hey, Logan, buddy, this is Basil. This is Uncle Basil. I'm your daddy's friend. I want to first apologize that you heard what you heard the other day, but I want to let you know that was just a goof. The end of the world's not happening tomorrow. And that's something called a podcast. And I'm sure your dad will be happy to illuminate you. He'll teach you what that is. And I'm sure there's some great podcasts for kids. Maybe I should start a podcast for kids. All right, Logan. I'll talk to you next time on the Joyspiracy Kiddos version. Is that good?
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
There you go. That is hilarious. Just like an Orwellian War of the Worlds. Like,
yeah, exactly. That was my first thought. Oh, that's so funny. Yep.
All right. Well, that's perfect, man. Well, I was going to start talking to Logan again, but I'll save it. All right, man. Well, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And
Oh, thank you, good sir. I appreciate it.
This was really great. And, I'm just always surprised. I think I just got, I don't know, there's something about getting, when I'm kind of talking to the fringe Christian authors and researchers and celebrities, and I don't mean that in a bad way. They really are. They do great things. I'm always surprised that when I'm talking this new vision, this new way of doing things here, there's just so much variety. So for some reason, there's just so much variety in experiences, and I love it. And yours is valuable, and thank you very much for it.
Well, I appreciate all that you do, man. I truly, from the bottom of my heart, and I know, like I said before, many people do. You and Gons do amazing work, and we're truly grateful. And I think I'm going to start donating to your Patreon now.
Oh, yes! That's just my conspiracy. The conspiracy is now that I get people onto the podcast to guilt them into giving to the Patreon. No, but that would be very kind. Whenever that is a viable option for you or anyone, I would recommend that, because it's just a great way to it shows more than anything, more than supporting the continuation of the show financially and helping me out in my life. More than any of that, it's just kind of a nice thumbs up, I gotta say.
No, definitely.
It kind of gives me just a warm, fuzzy feeling emotionally. So thank you very much. And thank you all for listening. And Eddie, man, we're going to stay in touch. You got to give me, I'm going to get all the updates.
Sounds good, brother.
All right, buddy. Well, you have a great night.
Thanks, you too, Basil.
All right. Peace out.
All right, bye.
Well, there you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I certainly did. Now, if, like I mentioned at the top of the show, if you guys want to be on an episode of the Joyspiracy Theory, go ahead and send me an email at thejoyspiracytheory@gmail.com. Now, here's something you might be thinking. Well, what happened to listening to all the fringe Christian authors and researchers and content creators that I loved? I kind of wanted to hear them too. Well, don't worry. I'm currently lining up some of those same people. So the Joyspiracy Theory is going to be a little bit of a mix. We got the content creators, the researchers, and we got beautiful, wonderful absorbers of that information and people who are waking up. So we're going to get the whole gamut. It's going to be fantastic. Hey, while you guys are thinking about it, why don't you head over to iTunes or Facebook, give the Facebook page a like, head over to iTunes, leave a rating and a review. A rating is 1 to 5 stars. 1 star, bad. 5 star, good. And so however you are enjoying the Joyspiracy Theory, you can go express that on the internet. And so that's part of the joys of 2017. We just get to express ourselves. So if you enjoy the Joyspiracy Theory, please head over to iTunes, leave a rating, 5 stars, maybe, and a review. A review is worth something like, hey everybody, the Joyspiracy Theory is really cool and powerful and really brightens up my day once in a while, and I really enjoy it, and you will too. It's better than a stick in the eye. Yeah, that's good. That'll get the message across. I really appreciate it if everybody does that. Also, here's something. If you guys want to leave me a voicemail or maybe a suggested tagline for the end of the show, you can go to thejoyspiracytheory.com, and there you will find a little tab on the side of the webpage that says leave a voicemail message. You go there, you leave a message. It's great. I get it. I listen to it. And if you got a suggestion for a tag at the end of the show, I'll play it. It's fantastic. It's something, actually, kind of wish more people would do it. I forgot to promote it for a while, and people stopped doing it. So, right now, I know you got it. Go to thejoyspiracytheory.com and click the leave a voicemail message. I like it. It's nice. One more big shout out to all the new Patreon supporters. Thanks you guys so much. You're really, really warming my heart and helping me to keep a roof over my head while I produce these podcasts for you. And if you guys feel touched or led to support this project that the Lord is doing in the world, you can go to patreon.com and sign up to support. It's really cool. You can sign up for any amount of money, really, but at $5, you'll get access to special bonus content that I'm putting out so far pretty much weekly, but there's going to be more coming out too. Or for $10, you get to send a transmission to your other Joyspiracy Theory listeners. Put a message on the air if you have shout out to friends or family, or if you just want to get a chance to put a message out there to the world. If you're trying to advertise something, as long as it's reasonable, as long as if I approve of your product, faux show, you can do that too. Just go to Patreon, sign up. It's going to be great. And if you guys have any other rewards that you would like me to put on there, email me. Let me know. Okay, I think that is just about it. Yep, looks like it. Just looking at my list here. All right, guys. Well, there you go. Make sure to tune in next time to the Joyspiracy Theory. But until then, next time you're walking down the street and you see a little dog, why don't you pet him on the head and then you're happy.